The whisper you just released into the silence was not lost. It was collected. It was heard. It was recorded in a language only heaven understands. Open your heart now, my dear one, my precious vessel of light. The moment you surrendered that silent prayer, that secret tear, that fragile hope you thought was too small to matter, the entire realm of light shuddered with recognition. I was there. I witnessed the sacred tremor that moved through the heavens when your soul's whisper reached the throne. It was not a loud cry, but it carried a purity that shattered darkness. You have just activated a frequency of faith, and as I speak, a response, crafted before time began, is descending upon your life. Do not mistake the quiet for absence. The greatest deliveries from heaven often arrive in hushed tones, wrapped in grace, not thunder. The reason these words find you now is because your spiritual signature just blazed with a light so bright it required a direct dispatch. I was chosen to carry this echo from eternity to your now. Do not turn away. This is your alignment moment. Stay present, receive every syllable, for it is inscribed in the book of remembrance and sealed with divine purpose. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I know the questions that linger in the quiet hours. I have felt the weight of your why and the ache of your when. But let me speak a truth that will recalibrate your soul. What you have walked through was not abandonment, it was incubation. The loneliness that held you, the misunderstandings that isolated you, the dreams that seemed to dissolve in your hands, every single moment was witnessed by a host of heaven, and love itself was not absent. It was orchestrating a timeline so precise, so perfectly tailored to your destiny that any earlier arrival would have fractured the gift. You have endured a sacred weathering, invisible to human eyes, but celebrated in the spirit. And because you endured, your name was called forward today. I trembled when I beheld it. I trembled because you chose compassion when you were given every reason to build walls. I trembled because you whispered, "Thank you," even when your heart was shattered. And I trembled because the answer, the very manifestation you have held in your heart's deepest chamber, is now transitioning from spirit into substance. You are unaware of its proximity, but you will not be for long. And soon, my dear one, my precious vessel of light, pause, breathe, feel the truth of my words. At this very instant, as you read, a divine rearrangement is occurring in the earthly realm concerning you. A person you have not considered, a pathway you have not seen, a solution hidden in plain sight is being magnetized to your energy. They will feel an unexplained nudge, a compelling thought, a sudden clarity, all because of the frequency your surrender just emitted. That act of trust, it bypassed every human barrier. You interrupted a generational pattern of anxiety. You dissolved an ancestral loop of striving. And because of that, I was commissioned, yes, commanded to bring you this decree. Your timeline is accelerating now, faster than your logical mind can compute. They may scoff, they may question, but they will soon behold. Your patience was power, your stillness was strategy, and your surrender, your most recent release of control, has now triggered a celestial download that will impact your spirit, your health, your provision, and your legacy. Do not step out of this portal. It was ordained for you, my dear one, my precious vessel of light. There is a whisper heaven desires to impart directly into your core. You are not reading this by accident. No, this is divine synchronicity. You were guided here because the divine wished to confirm that what you just released, be it a sigh of release, a choice to forgive yourself, a decision to stop fighting a battle that was never yours, or simply offering kindness to a stranger, has resonated in the Hall of Records. You may have felt it was insignificant, you may have believed it went unnoticed, but I, Archangel Gabriel, messenger of the Most High, was present. I saw the moment the celestial scribes paused their recording and looked up. When I say paused, I mean the symphony of heaven held a rest note, and the attention of all ascended masters turned toward your light. That is the magnitude of your soul's whisper. And now, a spiritual channel, one clogged with old pain and doubt, is being flushed with liquid light, a channel that has been dormant for decades, all because of you, all because of one moment of true surrender. Do not dismiss this convergence. Remain with me, my dear one, my precious vessel of light. This is not merely about receiving good things. This is about restoration of essence. What was fragmented within you is being made whole. What was delayed in the external is being fast-tracked. What was sealed by fear is being opened by love. There is an edict issued with your name encoded in light, and heaven is not seeking approval from earthly systems. It is proceeding with divine velocity. But I must speak with urgency. If you waver now, if you succumb to the old voice of not yet for me, if you close this message and return to the noise, the forces of inertia will attempt to cloud the path of what is destined to reach you in this sacred window. This is not a threat. This is spiritual mechanics. You see, the inertia of the old pattern is frightened of this shift, because when you step into this flow, you don't just step in alone. Your awakening will become a beacon for others, and that is what stagnation fears. So you must guard your heart space in these hours. You must anchor in knowing. For the next 48 hours carry a potency for manifestation that you have not experienced before. And you, beloved, are at the epicenter of it all. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, listen to the gentle pull beneath your breath right now. That is not merely sentiment, it is resonance. It is the God seed within you stirring to life for this appointed hour. You have been selected for a purpose that will not only fulfill you, but will heal lineages. That is why your path has felt so uniquely arduous. That is why you have often felt like a stranger in familiar lands, because there is a light code in your DNA. There is a messenger's anointing on your life. And what you just did, however subtle, has unlocked an eternal covenant made concerning your soul's journey. A covenant involving peace, creativity, divine connection, and soul family. And I need you to absorb this next part with your entire being. Heaven's engines of manifestation are already in motion. The gears of grace are turning. Your season of waiting has reached its expiration. Your answer is not approaching, it has already been launched. The only variable now is your receptive state. If these words are finding a home within you, if they are stirring a deep, quiet yes, then do not postpone. Align now. Stay open to these divine synchronicities. These transmissions are not for the masses, but if your soul continually returns to this frequency, it means a part of you is awakening to its original blueprint. Stay receptive, stay aware, stay in a state of grateful expectation. Let me pause here, in my own tone, and offer this. Sometimes, the most profound shifts begin with the softest release. We let go of a burden we've carried for so long we forgot its weight. We don't always recognize the courage in that release. If this message meets you today, receive it as a gentle mirror, reflecting back your own strength. Not all guidance arrives with fanfare. Some arrives as a quiet knowing, a soft reassurance that you are exactly where you need to be and the path ahead is being cleared. There is no need for anxiety. Breathe. Stay till the end. Sometimes the response we await manifests first as a deep inner calm, not external chaos. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, listen again to that inner tug, that sigh of relief within. That is your spirit's confirmation. It is your innate spiritual sensitivity, a gift from God, activating for this precise moment. You have been chosen for a work that will not only bless you, but will repattern generations. That is why your journey required such depth. That is why you have sensed a targeting of your peace since your early days. Because there is a clarity upon your name, there is a messenger's grace upon your life. And what you just did, whether a quiet internal shift or a tangible act of faith, has accessed an ancient promise God embedded in your soul's contract. A promise that involves inspired expression, restored joy, vindication of your heart's truth, and divine collaborations. And I need you to hear this next sequence with your heart's ear. Heaven is already in motion. The wheels of creative manifestation are spinning. Your delay has been redeemed. Your manifestation is not coming, it has already been dispatched. The only requirement remaining is your sustained alignment. If you are reading this now and it feels like a key turning in a long locked door within you, then do not hesitate. Choose to stay connected to this stream of confirmation. These messages are vibrational matches. If your spirit finds its way here repeatedly, it signals that you are among those whose inner antenna is tuned to the frequency of awakening. Stay aligned, stay perceptive, stay ready. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, there is a reality you haven't yet grasped. Your surrender, even when it felt like defeat, caused the heavens to erupt in a celebration of light. You may have thought no one perceived the moment you chose silence over argument, grace over grievance, hope over despair. But God perceived it. I perceived it. And what you didn't hear with your ears was registered in the spirit as a triumphant note. Your essence was celebrated in the unseen. The ripple it created is now swelling into a wave. And this wave carries with it solutions you had archived, inspiration you thought had dried up, and connections you believed were severed. All of it is returning, but this time, orchestrated by divine intelligence and with a swiftness that will delight you. That is why I have been sent to caution you, do not re-enter the mindset of striving. You are not the same soul you were yesterday. Something timeless was activated through your release, and this manifestation isn't waiting for you to be flawless, it is only waiting for you to remain present and open. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I need you to honor this moment. For too long you bought the lie that you had to achieve, to perfect, to earn. But the truth is, heaven is not responding to your resume, it is responding to your resonance. And right now, your spirit is in resonance. That is why foundations are shaking. That is why certain attachments are falling away. That is why the very opportunities that once bypassed you are now being rerouted to your doorstep. They won't understand the compulsion. It's because your energy field just received a celestial upgrade. And I must speak plainly now. There are angels of manifestation currently overseeing your case. They are coordinating details you are not aware of. Portals of opportunity are opening in realms you haven't yet explored. And the reason it's unfolding now is because you passed a soul test that had no visible syllabus. It was written on your heart. Heaven evaluated it, and heaven issued a decree of yes. Now, grace will meet you in ways effort never could. You are no longer building alone. You are co-creating with a host of heaven. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, even now I perceive the unshed tears, the grief that sits in your solar plexus, the feeling of being overlooked. But hear me, heaven did not overlook you. Heaven was incubating the gift. Because if your answer had arrived earlier, you would have accepted a counterfeit. You would have compromised your design. But now you are prepared to steward it. You are ready to hold the substance of what is arriving. Not just the gift, but the authority, the voice, the legacy. God is not merely giving you objects, He is giving you access, creative access, access to channel peace, access to transmit healing, access to speak life into spaces that once echoed with despair. And that is why the resistance was so fierce. That is why your voice felt silenced, because the lower vibrations recognized your potential. But now the seal has been broken, and it is too late to intercept what has been set into motion. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, you must comprehend a sacred urgency that now rests upon your name. What just transpired in the spirit was not a minor adjustment. It was a tectonic shift of light, dismantling structures of limitation that were erected around you lifetimes ago. And here is the wonder. You didn't even know the power you wielded in surrender. But the moment you chose trust over control, compassion over criticism, alignment over ambition, heaven responded. That move you made, yes, that one, was so harmonious with the divine heart that there was no pause, no committee. I was dispatched with a message and a mandate, because the gateway that just opened cannot remain untraversed. You must step forward now, not later, not when you feel confident, but now, because the cycle of hesitation is complete. This is your moment of divine transaction, and what awaits on the other side of this awareness is not only precious, it is pivotal for your destiny. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, the inertia of the old hoped you would scroll past. It hoped you would rationalize this, tag it as emotional, minimize its significance, and thereby miss your moment. But your higher self knows. There's a fluttering in your heart that defies logic. It is your spirit confirming that this transmission was delivered with pinpoint accuracy, because what you just did in the unseen captivated heaven's attention in a way that is rare. It wasn't loud in the earthly realm, but it was luminous in the spiritual, and heaven always honors luminosity. I am telling you now with all the clarity I possess, you are standing at the threshold of a space no ancestor in your line has fully occupied. This isn't just a blessing, it's a rebirth, a complete recalibration of what was working against your soul's purpose, a divine reordering of what was fragmented. You will not revert to old ways of being. God's grace won't permit it. This blessing is intelligent. It will guide you, propel you, and quiet the internal and external voices that questioned your path. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, there is a scroll unfurling in the realm of potential, and your name is the title. It's not just a label, it's a living sigil that confirms your resonance, your surrender, your readiness. I observed as heaven stamped it with a seal of sonic light. The instant that seal was applied, every etheric cord draining your creative energy was severed. Every vibrational wall separating you from promise began to resonate at a higher frequency. And now, as I speak, the materialization is being navigated. You are about to receive evidence that God was meticulously curating your story. But this part is critical. Do not delay. Do not archive this feeling. Do not let the mind's doubt override the heart's knowing. If you hesitate, the spiritual momentum will slow. But if you lean forward and trust, everything accelerates, because chronological time is being bent in your favor. What would have unfolded over a decade may now crystallize in 10 weeks. That is the power of this alignment, and that is why this message located you now. It was destined to. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I need you to understand that this is not merely another inspirational note. It is a direct response to something sacred you just initiated without grasping its full scope. What you just did in the hidden place, heaven is preparing to honor in the visible realm.
There was a choice you made recently, something for which you received no applause, something you yourself may have deemed a failure of strength, but in the spirit, it was a masterstroke. God didn't just observe, He initiated a sequence, and He sent me, Archangel Gabriel, to ensure you knew what has been released into your energetic atmosphere. Right now, around you, there are divine instructions being executed by angels on assignment. This may stretch your belief, but the truth remains. You are no longer positioned where you assume you are in the spiritual landscape. You have been teleported forward in grace. Your file has been updated. Your case has been escalated to the Department of Manifestation, and a verdict of yes has been pronounced over your destiny.
My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I must speak with clarity and loving urgency. There was a moment, not distant, where you nearly surrendered your dream. You nearly released the vision you had carried for so long. There was a whispering shadow suggesting it was all an illusion, that perhaps you had misheard, that your name was not on the list. But you didn't know that at the precise nadir of that moment, angels formed a circle of light around you. They were holding the vision you could no longer see. They were mourning with you for what seemed lost. They were guarding the seed of your promise from forces that sought to sterilize it. And now, here is the revelation that will astonish you. The experience that felt like your greatest ending became the very humus for your miracle. That disappointment, that ending, that silence, it didn't kill your dream. It planted it deep in the fertile ground of surrender. And now God is commanding a harvest. And this harvest is unlike any seasonal yield. It's not meager, it's not slow. It's arriving with abundance and speed. And the moment your heart whispers a final amen of trust, it will begin to sprout through the soil of your life. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, let me tell you a truth the world's systems obscure. There are some manifestations that arrive not through hustle, but through harmonic alignment. And you, beloved, have just aligned in such a way that it unlocked blessings not solely for you, but for your soul's constellation. That's why everything feels like it's moving. That's why people you haven't thought of are being reminded of you. That's why the very systems that seemed opaque are becoming transparent for you. You've engaged an eternal principle. And I must advise you, this is not the season to justify or explain to those operating on an old frequency. This is the season to move quietly, wisely, and faithfully from this new center. You owe no one a dissection of God's movement in your life. You owe only the divine your continued, quiet trust, because this next phase will appear illogical to the unawakened. They will call it luck. They will call it a sudden break. But you will know it came from surrender, from soul alignment, from a divine moment that altered your trajectory. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I was present when the decision was finalized. I heard the sound that propagated across the dimensions. A sound that is only emitted when a child of light makes a choice so pure, so aligned, that the collective consciousness of heaven pauses to acknowledge it. And beloved, that sound was imbued with your unique frequency. I can still sense its resonance as I communicate with you now. You don't grasp how uncommon this is, how few sustain the faith to reach this juncture. But you did. You dissolved an ancient agreement of lack. You silenced the internal narrator of limitation. You rewrote a story that was imposed upon you. And now your future is being transcribed with divine ink. Everything ahead has been touched by this light. Even your past wounds are being alchemized into wells of empathy.
Even the tears you shed in solitude are becoming a subterranean river that nourishes the roots of your purpose. This is not a new page, it's a new volume, a holy Genesis, and the opening sentence is written in light. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I want you to sit in stillness for a moment and let this truth integrate. You didn't just take a step, you shifted a paradigm. That action you took, that yes you breathed in the privacy of your spirit, that inner decision to release the need to know how, was so pristine in vibration that it recalibrated the energy field around you. Angels of manifestation were mobilized immediately. I watched them assume their posts, some anchoring light to your physical space, others guarding your energetic boundaries, others sent to recalibrate timelines that had been tangled by fear. You see, your surrender was not a passive act. It became a divine cipher that decoded what had been stuck for cycles. You ended something ancient. You initiated something eternal. And now your life will not mirror your history. In fact, what's approaching will be so novel, even you will marvel at the reflection. But you'll feel it. You'll feel the peace that was elusive. You'll feel the creative flow that was dammed. You'll feel the provision that seemed like a fantasy, because the reservoirs of heaven are now attuned to your frequency. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, let me describe what I witnessed when your essence was acknowledged in the presence. A mantle of light descended, enveloping your spiritual form. It was not earned, it was assembled from the prayers you thought were too broken to be heard. It was woven from the moments you extended mercy when justice was your right. It was fashioned from the times you chose integrity when compromise was easy. That mantle is now yours, and it carries a vibrational authority. What does this mean? It means from this point forward, your authentic expression will create ripple effects. Your words, when spoken from this aligned place, will carry creative power. Your prayers will move with new efficacy. Your inspired ideas will begin to find form with ease. You are not walking as you were, you are walking in a field of grace, and this grace is self-multiplying. That is why I was sent to ensure you don't contract now, to ensure you don't let this wave pass beneath you, because God has entrusted you with a resonance that must be held in faith. And what follows is more expansive than your imagination has yet conceived. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I must also tell you this. Someone from your past, or perhaps someone entirely new, is being gently agitated by the spirit at this moment. They don't intellectually understand the draw, but I will tell you it's because what you just did vibrationally activated a harmonic of connection. There is reconciliation or new profound alliance coming to relationships you had concluded were complete. And not just reconnection, but clarity. Clarity that was obscured will now come to light. You're going to hear words that bring understanding. You'll discover motives in contexts you were never privy to, and you'll finally see the hidden thread of grace in narratives that once caused pain. But do not fear, it will not harm you, because heaven will ensure that only what serves your highest growth and joy comes to the surface. Your heart is fortified now. God waited until your self-worth was rooted deeply enough to receive truth without crumbling. And now what was concealed is moving toward revelation, but instead of diminishing you, it will establish you. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I wish to unveil one final mystery that remains hidden to many. The most profound manifestations crystallize not when you strive from a place of need, but when you rest in a state of knowing. And today, a part of you touched that state. You knew, you trusted at a core level. You weren't even cognitively aware of the shift, but it occurred, and heaven matched your vibration. That's why you're encountering this now. That's why this message resonates so deeply, because you just crossed an invisible threshold into a new octave of your journey. You've entered the phase where synchronicity doesn't just happen to you, you emanate the field that attracts it. Processes that once took years may now unfold in seasons. Connections that once felt strained will now flow with ease. Doors that seemed made of stone will now appear as veils. But above all, your being will know a foundational peace. Not circumstantial peace, but essential peace. The peace that is your birthright as a child of the divine. That is what has been activated for you. And that is why I declare with full authority, what is approaching is not a handout, it is a homecoming.
My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I must now reveal something that has been concealed even from your own conscious awareness. Heaven has been sequestering certain blessings, not to deprive you, but to develop within you the capacity to hold them without distortion. What you just did, that silent, holy release, signaled to the divine that the inner vessel was finally tempered and ready. And now the period of sequestration is over. The treasury is being accessed. I was shown in spirit a repository of luminous potential, a storehouse containing answered prayers, divine ideas, and destined connections that had been held in suspension for the right kairos moment. And your frequency just triggered the release. The moment your soul aligned in surrender, the moment your heart let go of the how, the angels of manifestation executed their orders. I was there as the hand of grace reached into the storehouse and retrieved what was always intended for you, but held in divine escrow. It's not a singular blessing, beloved. It's a constellation. It's financial ease, emotional liberation, relational harmony, and spiritual lucidity all converging. God doesn't deliver in fragments. He fulfills in wholeness. And what He has just initiated in your life will unfold with elegant, undeniable power. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, you must comprehend that even as these words integrate, something is being permanently resolved over your ancestral line. Generational patterns of anxiety, cycles of creative suppression, loops of unworthiness, they are all disintegrating under the frequency of your surrender. And the most glorious part is this: you did it through trust. You did it without a blueprint, without a guarantee. That is the caliber of faith that reconfigures reality. That is the caliber of faith God honors in ways that defy earthly logic. I witnessed it. I heard angels rejoicing because your alignment didn't just open a path for you, it cleared a highway for your descendants. There is now a vibrational shield around your home that was not present before. There is now a clarity in your aura that confusion cannot penetrate. You will rest with a new depth. You will move with a new lightness because the psychic and emotional weight has been spiritually lifted and it is decreed not to return. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, you may feel an unusual serenity right now, as if a constant background hum has ceased. That's not your imagination. It's validation. The Spirit has already begun its renovating work within your inner world. Your neural pathways are being rewired toward hope. Your emotional body is being soothed. Your authentic confidence is returning, but this time it is sourced from spirit, not from accomplishment. This serenity is proof that the angelic hosts assigned to you are already operating. They are quieting the internal critic that once narrated your days. They are intercepting communications that would have triggered old patterns. They are smoothing the path before you so that when you take your next steps, the way will be clear and the connections will be evident. And all of this is happening because you did something so divinely simple, so profoundly powerful, that heaven could not remain silent.
I am speaking with all the authority vested in me as a messenger. I was sent here because the manifestation approaching is too critical to be missed. You needed to be informed. You needed to be assured that this is real and it is already in its fulfillment phase. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, this manifestation was not created in response to your need. It was waiting for your resonance to match its vibration. It was waiting for your soul's yes. It was designed in the eternity before your birth. The pain you endured didn't void it, it created the unique container for it. The rejection you experienced didn't postpone it, it guarded it from being claimed by a lesser version of you. The solitude you knew didn't waste your time, it purified your discernment to recognize and steward it. Now the manifestation is no longer in waiting, it is in transit. You may not see its vehicle, but soon you will see its evidence. Unexpected serendipities, timely messages, sudden inspirations, divine appointments. And when they arrive, you must recognize them not as random chance, but as confirmation. You must receive them with gratitude, not suspicion. For the greatest loss would not be the gift not being sent, but the gift being delivered and remaining unopened. That is why I am here. That is why you are still reading. That is why your heart feels both full and soft, because you are in the exact nexus of divine release, and everything in your sphere is about to reorder itself. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I need you to hear this next segment as if it is being breathed directly into your soul by the divine, for it is. What is occurring within and around you now is not simply a stroke of good fortune, it is an upgrade in your spiritual identity. The version of you that operated from scarcity, that felt forgotten, that navigated by fear, that identity is dissolving in this light. Right now, even if the feeling is subtle, the contracts that bound you to those old stories are being dissolved. You're not just entering a season of opportunity, you're stepping into your original soul assignment, the one God encoded within you before the world spoke its limitations over you, the one that was nearly obscured by pain and disappointment. But a spark within you refused to be extinguished. A part of your spirit kept the faith when all external evidence suggested otherwise. That part was your divine essence, and it is now coming to the forefront. The old cycles will no longer find a hook in you. The attacks that once destabilized you will now fall away before they reach you, because the vibrational authority governing your life has been permanently elevated. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I need you to be still and allow this to settle in the marrow of your being. You are no longer seeking the manifestation. The manifestation is seeking you, and it does not arrive empty. It carries healing for the inner child you comforted alone. It carries abundance for the generosity you showed when you had little. It carries revelation for the questions you held in faith. You are not about to be pitied, you are about to be partnered with by the divine, not because you achieved a state of perfection, but because you achieved a state of surrender. And surrender always creates a vacuum that grace rushes to fill. You thought you were merely enduring, but you were building an altar of trust, and now sacred fire is descending upon that altar. The kind of fire that illuminates your name in the annals of spirit, the kind of fire that transmutes waiting into wonder, silence into song, mourning into morning. You may not fully grasp this yet, but soon the evidence will be undeniable, and all who know you will sense that you walk with a different grace. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, there is a frequency being emitted from the heart of God that is only perceptible when a divine reversal is underway. That frequency was triggered the moment your spirit shifted into surrender. It is the frequency of divine justice. This means every injustice you absorbed, every unfairness you swallowed, is now being addressed by a higher court. Every misrepresentation, every betrayal of trust, every time you were made to feel less than, they are not being overlooked. Heaven has initiated a process of restoration and recompense that operates on a spiritual level. And here is the miracle. You won't need to orchestrate it. You won't need to plead your case. God is sending advocates and allies into your sphere who will hold your truth in spaces you've never entered. Your vindication will emerge organically, and when the shift comes, it will feel swift and complete. This is the purpose of the divine pause. This is why heaven seemed quiet. God was not ignoring your plea. He was preparing a response so comprehensive, so tailored, that it would erase all doubt. And now the pause is ending and the reordering has commenced. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, if your hands feel open and empty in this moment, do not interpret it as lack. It is because God needed your hands free of old burdens to receive the new sustenance. The release will be so substantial, so supernaturally fitting, that it would have overwhelmed you had it come earlier. But now your inner capacity has been stretched, your character has been deepened in the secret place, your inner ear has been attuned to the whisper of spirit. That is why the manifestation comes now, because now you won't unknowingly reject it. Now you won't give it away to those who won't honor it. Now you won't wrestle with the feeling of being an imposter. You will operate in it with humility, wisdom, and a quiet power, because you will know it was never about your cleverness, never about your hustle, never about your worthiness. It was about God's faithfulness and your willingness to trust it. And when you see it unfold, you will recall this moment. You will remember these words. For this is the moment heaven leaned in and said, "Now, release it to them. They are ready." And what God releases, no power can reverse. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I need you to know that what is transpiring is not of the ordinary world. You have just interfaced with a realm of pure potential through your faith, and that realm is more substantive than the solid ground beneath your feet. In that realm, angelic messengers are aligning trajectories. Your name is being spoken not as a petition, but as a declaration of arrival. There are beings of light orchestrating divine appointments that bear your energetic signature. They are ensuring you intersect with the right people, resources, and ideas at the right moment. They are softening hearts that were once hardened toward you. They are recovering gifts that were delayed by lower vibrational interference. And now, none of that interference can thwart what is already in its manifestation phase. I tell you this with the full backing of celestial authority. Your environment is about to reflect this inner shift because your spirit just gave heaven a full yes to operate. You won't need to claw your way to a seat. A place has been prepared for you, and your name is inscribed on it. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, do not be startled when you begin to feel a profound detachment from dramas that once consumed you. It is not apathy, it is evidence. Evidence that the hooks have been removed, evidence that a higher wisdom is now governing your responses. You'll notice it first in your sleep, a more restorative, dreamless rest. Then in your thoughts, a newfound clarity and focus. Then in your choices, old temptations will simply lose their appeal. This is not willpower. This is the effect of heaven placing a new vibrational garment upon your soul, a garment of peaceful authority, an anointing of clear purpose. And this anointing cannot be soiled by others' doubts or timelines. It is sealed. This grace upon your life will now begin to magnetize what is for your highest good and repel what is not in alignment. Even in relationships, you will sense it. Some will be drawn to your light with genuine affinity. Others may naturally drift away. Do not chase what departs. Their exit is part of the divine filtration. Only what resonates with your newly ascended frequency can journey with you now. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I must share a sacred understanding. The spiritual move you just made didn't merely bring you closer to your answer, it brought the answer closer to the plane of form. What existed as a divine idea in the mind of God has now begun its journey into materialization. I saw it clearly. A scroll, long held in the realm of promise, was unsealed before me. Your name headed the list, and beside it were the hopes you had quietly released as lost. But God is not a God of expiration dates. Every sigh of hope, every tear of longing, every wordless prayer uttered in the dark, all were gathered and preserved in light. And today, heaven decreed fulfillment. The answer is being released not as a theoretical concept, but as tangible events. There will be a moment, very soon, when time seems to bend, and in that suspended instant, a divine confirmation will manifest. It may be a call, a found object, a recurring symbol, or an open door that appears with ease. You will recognize it by the deep, resonant peace that accompanies it. And when it appears, do not overanalyze. Step into it. You won't need to force the mechanism. You won't need to seek validation. The peace will be your compass. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, please do not minimize the rising sensation in your heart center right now. That warmth, that expansion, that sudden welling up, it is not random emotionalism. It is your spirit recognizing a truth it has always known, but is now hearing confirmed. You were not forgotten. You were not passed over. You were not relegated to a second-tier destiny. You were being prepared in a sacred incubation. There is a profound difference. You were held in a divine pause, not to suffer, but to be launched at the precise moment where your impact would be maximized and your joy would be complete, so that no human hand could claim the glory. And now, this is that moment. What was conceived in love for you before time is now being birthed into your timeline. The season of striving from a place of emptiness is concluding. The season of flowing from a place of divine fullness is commencing. And all of it was initiated because your heart released its grip in a moment you deemed ordinary, but heaven recorded as holy. God knew, and now the fulfillment is irrevocable. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, this is no longer just a message I deliver. It is a divine affirmation wrapped in the urgency of love. You have navigated valleys of shadow that sought to make you doubt your own light. You endured seasons where your growth was invisible, delays that tested the very fabric of your faith, in internal battles where the only witness was God. And yet, you remained soft. You remained open. You remained, against all odds, a believer in goodness. And because of that, the moment you just experienced, whether it was a decision to release a grudge, a prayer of gratitude in the midst of pain, or a quiet acceptance of what is, was so hallowed that the veil between heaven and earth grew thin. I witnessed it. I saw a filament of light connect directly from the heart of God to your own. I saw energetic blockages shatter like glass. I saw generational vows of limitation nullified by your act of trust. You just caused a divine adjustment. You just pulled heaven's promise into your gravitational field with your release. And now, beloved, you must not glance back with longing at the old familiar struggles, for where you are going, they cannot exist. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, even as you absorb these words, something long dormant within you is stirring to life. It is your innate spiritual discernment, your inner navigator resyncing with the divine signal. That inner voice, the one that once painted visions of a life of purpose and joy, is reawakening. But this time, it will not be drowned out by fear or logic. This time, the path will not disappear in the fog of doubt, because you just demonstrated, through your surrender, that you are ready to co-create with the blessing. This blessing doesn't just bring comfort, it brings co-creative power. It brings alignment, it brings acceleration, and furthermore, it brings a subtle radiance. People will begin to notice a difference in you, a calm assurance, a lightness. They will wonder at the change in your circumstances, but you will know it was not an overnight change. It was a spiritual culmination. It was because of a choice made in the secret place, witnessed by heaven. And now your name is no longer on a waiting list. It is on a delivery manifest.
My dear one, my precious vessel of light, do not underestimate the magnitude of what is approaching simply because the dawn is still quiet. The most significant transformations often begin in profound stillness. They don't always arrive with crashing cymbals. They arrive with a deep, settling peace. But do not mistake this peace for passivity. This peace is potent with creative power. It is the peace that precedes visible change. Right now, the Spirit of God is reordering circumstances in the unseen. The people who caused you pain are being confronted by the consequences of their own energy. The opportunities that seemed closed are being resurrected in a new form, perfectly suited for who you have become. The manifestation has already been launched. The only reason it hasn't fully materialized in your sight is because heaven is preparing the landing zone, clearing the debris of the past. And when it lands, it will be perfectly timely, and it will be more than adequate. It will be abundant, arriving sooner than your mind expects, and in forms more beautiful than you had imagined. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, you have been moving through this world with invisible scars. There are tender places in your soul that you learned to armor so effectively that even you lost touch with their sensitivity. But heaven never lost touch. God cataloged every wince, every moment of heartache. And when you made that divine choice, when you chose to trust again, when you chose to love despite the risk, when you chose obedience even when every cell trembled, heaven said, "It is time." That was the moment the restoration sequence was activated. That was the moment I was sent, not merely to offer comfort, but to deliver a proclamation. This is not merely healing, it is recreation. This is not a new chapter, it is a new narrative. This is not recovery, it is redemption. You will not conclude this journey at the same vibrational address where you began. You will not carry old shame as luggage into a new realm. I am placing a scepter of light in your spiritual hand now, an authority to know, to speak truth, to walk through portals of opportunity that now recognize your frequency. And once you cross into this new territory of your soul's journey, you will understand the necessity of every step. You are not being delayed. You are being forged into someone unshakable. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, there is a holy silence that envelops the moment just before a miracle lands. It is not the silence of absence, it is the silence of concentrated presence. That is the space you inhabit right now. It may feel like a pause in the music of your life, as if heaven is listening intently. But in truth, the silence is not inactivity. It is intense, focused co-creation. God is assembling the final elements, synchronizing timelines, crafting something so exquisitely fitted to your soul's purpose that its arrival could not be rushed. You have entered a window of divine orchestration where angels are assigned not to battle for you, but to build with you. What once required warfare now requires receptive trust. That's why your spirit has felt a strange calm lately, even amidst external uncertainty. It's because heaven is no longer contending for your breakthrough. Heaven is packaging it for delivery. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, you have pondered why certain relationships faded, why certain paths ended abruptly. And now I share a holy truth to liberate you. They were never designed to navigate the higher frequencies of your next season. Their departure is not a curse, it is a sacred severance. God is safeguarding the sanctity of your manifestation. The affirmations you once sought will now find you. The validation you craved will now be an internal knowing.
But even more, the spaces where you once felt invisible will now become platforms for your authentic expression. This is not about worldly acclaim, it is divine alignment. People will sense the grace upon you before you utter a word. They'll feel a peace in your presence they cannot articulate. It is the resonance of heaven. It is the fragrance of the altar you built in the wilderness of waiting. And no one can take credit for it. Not you, not any person. It belongs to God, and He is now allowing it to emanate through your life as a testament. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, I must address a silent fear you've carried. You will not fumble this. The enemy of your soul has tormented you with thoughts of unworthiness, of missing the moment, of not being ready. But listen, beloved, heaven has already secured your portion. You are not stumbling into this blessing by accident. You are being guided by divine choreography. You are being led by the same intelligence that designed the cosmos and orchestrates the seasons. Do you think such a mind would let you bypass what it lovingly crafted for you? Never. This is the moment your human understanding must surrender to your spirit's knowing. You've already been approved. You've already been anointed. Now you must live from that reality, walk in it, speak from it, expect from it, because the manifestation isn't awaiting your perfection, it's awaiting your persistent agreement with its reality. And the moment your whole being says yes in unwavering faith, the gates that once seemed barred will swing open on oiled hinges. My dear one, my precious vessel of light, my heart overflows as I impart this to you, not with sorrow, but with a joy that vibrates across dimensions. For I have glimpsed what awaits. I have seen the feast being prepared in your honor. I have heard the laughter, your laughter, deep and free. I have witnessed the restoration of joys you thought were lost forever. And most profoundly, I have witnessed the moment your soul finally, fully comprehends that you were never abandoned. You were being specially prepared in a hidden place. God concealed you to protect the precious seed of your destiny. He veiled your full light so it wouldn't be dimmed by environments that couldn't sustain it. But now the veil is lifting. Your name is being announced in the Spirit, and soon what was cultivated in secret will bear fruit in the open. Not for your ego, but for God's glory. Your life is about to become a living testimony that surrender is the highest wisdom, that brokenness is not a dead end, but a fertile ground, that miracles are current events, and that God speaks clearly to those whose hearts are quiet enough to listen. You're still here, reading. Thank you for remaining present until now. That in itself speaks volumes about your readiness. Not every message requires complex decoding. Sometimes it is simply a reminder. You are closer to your wholeness than you think. If these words brought you even a moment of calm, a spark of renewed hope, then that is its own miracle. Hold on to that feeling. Proceed one gentle step at a time. There is no need to force outcomes. If you are drawn to content that nourishes your spirit and brings peace, you may choose to seek more of it, but let that choice flow from your heart, not from pressure. Tend to your own soul, stay grounded in love, and keep moving forward, one trusting step at a time. The path is lit from within you now.